Greetings, family, and welcome to another edition of Black Talk Radio, where Black media matters and Black life certainly matters. Today is Tuesday, September 17, 2018. Family, if you haven't seen this, it's gone viral. This is a interview on the Frank and Wanda in the Morning Show on V-103. They did an episode the other day with a couple comedians. I think one, his name is Big Red or something to that name, and then they also featured Katt Williams. Now, Katt Williams was not supposed to be on this show that day. It just so happened Frank and Wanda heard that Katt Williams was on the premises. They went out and persuaded and pretty much begged Katt Williams to come on to the show. And in fact, as we know now, he did. So I just want to speak on that for a minute. So first and foremost, Katt Williams was not supposed to be a guest originally, and he was reluctant. And as a matter of fact, he was totally against going onto the show because, as he had stated, as we find out, is that he wasn't originally invited. And so Wanda Smith, the host of this show, as a matter of fact, pictured here, she went out into the green room, what she calls the green room, and persuaded, through begging, Katt Williams to come onto the show. So eventually that's what happened. So as you see in the video, in the interview, she is speaking to the other comedian, but the focus then shifts to Katt Williams. And you know, Katt being 100% real, everyone is glued to his words. And so with that, after doing part of this interview, there came a point where Wanda Smith, started talking about his hair. And I think that was the moment of when this interview started changing. Now, keep in mind, like I said originally, that Katt Williams didn't even want to be on this show. And it was Wanda here who persuaded him to go on the show. And so anyways, at some point in the interview, she decides to take a shot at Katt Williams' hair. And Katt Williams, being the comedian he is, he thought, okay, if you want to clown, I can clown. And so that's what they started doing. And as a matter of fact, it was some back and forth banter that I think a lot of people found entertaining. I myself found it entertaining. I thought it was going pretty well. Well, Katt Williams went in on Wanda. He went in on Kevin Hart. He went in on Tiffany Haddish. And he made a lot of compelling arguments about the comedian or the comedy circuit and how some comedians get looked over for others. And he made a mention of the fact that Tiffany Haddish seems to have gotten a lot of play in Hollywood after making comments that she wanted to have Brad Pitt's baby, and you know that commercial that she does, even where she's by the pool. Tiffany Haddish, I'm speaking of right now, where she's by the pool. Remember, she says how she wants the pool boy, and the pool boy happens to be a white male. So we know that they're definitely loving Tiffany Haddish and her swirling moments. And so, but anyways, on this show, the interview just got, it went there, and it went viral, and it's gone so viral that it affected both Frank Ski and Wanda Smith on V-103, their radio show. So they had to even have a discussion about it. And again, that's how I found out that Katt Williams wasn't even supposed to be on the show in the first place, and that it was Wanda Smith that begged Katt Williams to come onto the show. So apparently he did that, and like I said, he roasted all those people, and it's quite good, actually. I watched the original version, and then I watched the exclusive V-103 interview with Frank Ski and Wanda, the aftermath, speaking on this subject. That's when I found out that Wanda Smith took most of what Katt Williams, she took it personal. She was not a team player here when it comes to comedy. it appears that Wanda Smith knows how to dish it out, but she can't take it. Now, in the discussion she had with her co-host, Frank Ski, there was points being brought out, the fact that Frank Ski should have stopped the show. And Frank Ski, with respect to Frank Ski, and I'm on his side, is that it wasn't just up to Frank Ski to stop the show. Wanda is a host on the show. She runs the show as well. She could have ended the show herself if she wanted to. But that was just a point that Wanda Smith made in this particular segment here. She made mention how not only was she hurt, but she wished that Frank Ski would have stopped the show. And again, Frank Ski defended his position, rightfully so, and I have to say that I agree with him, is that it wasn't for him entirely to stop the show. If Wanda didn't want that to continue, she could have stopped it, had the producers cut, and they would have went on to the next thing. But instead, when Frank Ski was trying to end the show, Katt Williams kept throwing pot shots at Wanda, and Wanda was throwing pot shots back at Katt Williams. Now, we've come to find out that Wanda Smith is the type of comedian, she doesn't like going back and forth with other comedians, and her position is that she has too much respect for Katt Williams. Well, in a comedy circuit, you should know that that respect gets thrown out the door when people start, throwing personal jabs at you. That gets thrown out the door. Nonetheless, she tries to defend her position that she just did not want to go there. And so there was a big backlash, I'm assuming, from the listeners. And it went viral. On their channel alone, it's already at 2.7 million views. And on other channels where people are covering this, it's huge numbers. So we already know that this is around town. This is the talk of the town. But I wanted to cover it because I just wanted to say that I saw the aftermath interview. And as a matter of fact, Wanda towards the end brings up the fact that her husband, in the situation where this rumor is going around that he pulled a gun on Katt Williams, well, apparently they were somewhere outside and Katt Williams made a beeline over to Wanda Smith and her husband. Not that they were walking towards one another, not that it was a coincidence that they were in the same vicinity. He made a beeline and walked over to her and made a comment that, see, fucking with me, it will go viral. And I guess her husband didn't like it, and he made a comment to Katt to kind of back off. And I don't know what happened, but apparently the husband chased Katt Williams across the street into a store. And so security cameras has captured all of this, and now Wanda cannot even speak on this because apparently now there's going to be some legal action. So we'll see how this all turns out. It's very unfortunate that comedians know that if you rag on one, the other one may tear you down, and you should be ready. Instead, I would have really liked if Wanda would have taken this in stride and at the end thank Katt Williams for coming onto the show that he originally was not invited to and that he didn't even want to be on. I think that she should have, pulled up her grown panties and thanked Katt Williams. He is a legend. She should have thanked him for, in fact, coming onto the show, however it ended up. And maybe even say, hey, you know what? I enjoyed this. I take the L. You got me good. You roasted me good on my show. And hey, is there a potential that we could work together in the future? She could have turned this around into a positive. And the reason why I say that is because in this particular interview where she is talking about this situation, she talks about how she likes to keep it positive. She likes to keep it positive. And I really wish that she would have done that 100% within this interview with Katt Williams. I wish she would have turned that into a positive at the very end because she did have the potential to do that. Again, this is after Katt Williams wasn't even invited on the show, didn't want to be on the show, and yet she begged him to come onto the show. So I think all in all, This was a tit for tat. It was some comedians roasting each other. She lost, and she didn't take the loss very well. And so it hurt her feelings. She came on the show, her radio show V-103, and spoke on it. And as a matter of fact, even the listeners who chimed in, because they had call-ins, people calling in, other people's opinions were spot on. Some said, hey, Katt Williams is just 100%. You know this. You invited him into your house, and this is what you get. And, you know, I'll give Wanda credit for listening to all the people, listening to her commenters, and then taking that information and going with it, instead of just being totally negative or acting like she's just totally the victim. She's not playing the victim. She just didn't like the situation because she took the L. Anyways, Katt Williams, he's crazy as hell. I'm a Katt Williams fan. I enjoyed it. And again, I just wanted to speak on it because there was just some situations about this that, yeah, it's like, no, Wanda, you asked for this. Frank here, I give him credit because at the end, he apologized profusely to Wanda, saying how he loves her. He is her partner. They've been working together for so long. He didn't expect it to go the way it did, and he didn't know that she was going to become hurt in the process. She revealed this during this morning show. On this show, she revealed how she was very hurt. And she was hurt that, like I said, I'm going to repeat this, she was hurt that Frank here didn't stop the show, but he defends his actions, stating that, well, you guys kept going on and on when I tried to end the show, and you too, Wanda, could have stopped the show if you really wanted to. So he doesn't really have any ownership of this. And with due respect, I don't blame him. He's really he was just doing his job. And just like other shows, he made a mention that sometimes they've ripped their guests and their guests took L's from them. So it goes back and forth, but it's like this. If you can't stand the heat in the kitchen, stay out. That message goes to Wanda Smith. So in the future, I think people are going to lay off Katt Williams' hair. It isn't a perm. It is his hair. They're going to lay off his money or his clothes, because she did try to talk about his clothes until he revealed that he's wearing a Versace suit. And then she mentioned some other things. Katt Williams basically just ripped her a new butthole. And you should have expected that. Anyways, I'm going to end this video off here. Thanks a lot for watching Black Talk Radio, where black media matters. We'll see you in the next video. Peace out.